Hey guys, it's Lisa.
And Ian.
Today we're going to talk about pros and cons in video games.
To start off with pros, hand-eye coordination is said to be greatly improved by playing video games. For instance, my nephews are playing football in the Pee Wee leagues. Woo! And their coach has informed me that they should probably play some video games to help with their hand-eye coordination and remembering plays. He suggested video games such as Madden and, as a surprise to me, first-person shooters. He says Madden would help them learn to remember, or help them remember plays, and first-person shooters would help with their hand-eye coordination and their critical decision-making skills.
Going along with that, a lot of people don't know that not only are video games that are on systems like Xbox or PlayStation or PC, a lot of games are done in handheld devices like Nintendo 3DS's, also PS Vitas, PlayStation Portables, and even some cell phones are considered PlayStation or gaming systems. A lot of people buy them just so that they can play games on them mobily. With that, there's a lot of puzzle games that people use. One that I love personally is Sudoku. It's a thinking game. It's strategy. You have to, watch what you're doing every single move, so it goes along with the critical thinking. And that plays a large portion in day-to-day life. There's a lot of things that you come into contact with that you have to make a serious decision. And you got to think about the things you do before you do them.
Also, video games help with reflex. For, per se, Tetris, things start dropping down faster and faster and faster. You have to place them before, they hit and build up on you and back up. So, there's a lot of things that video games can help you with.
Another one is, recently a lot of video game systems like Xbox and PlayStation have come out with things like the PlayStation Move and Xbox Connect. Now when they first came out, they were, also the Wii, when they first came out they were pretty popular to get people physical. There was workout games, even fun games that you didn't even realize you were working out to, like dance. I think it's Dance Central or something.
I think so.
I don't particularly play those games, so I'm not exactly sure, but I know that friends have told me that, you don't even realize it, but by the time you're done, you burn a ton of calories, and apparently you have fun while you do it. That's terrific.
And then you have games that actually help with actual day-to-day things, like they have games that build math skills or reading skills and things like that, and that is some pretty powerful and important stuff there.
I know that there's actually one game in particular where it helps with music skills. With the 3DS, it's a little game where you program it to whatever instrument you play, and you basically play into it, and it can record what you've done and tell you when you hit wrong notes or right notes or whatever. And that's really cool because a lot of kids, they go to school or music classes or whatever, and it's kind of dull and boring. But the fact that you add the word video game to it makes it a little bit more exciting.
It can be the exact same thing, but with that video game, it changes the entire game.
Yeah,
and that's always cool.
And also, it's a motivational tool. A lot of young kids these days love playing different kinds of video games, no matter what kind they are. And it's worked for me before with nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever. My parents used it on me to where it was like, if you finish your chores or you finish your homework, I'll either buy you this video game or you can play video games for an extra hour or whatever the case may be, to where you just got to play the video games.
Yes. Let's get into some cons. I have noticed a high dip in imagination within children, and I see a lot of it being due to the video games. My mom teaches in high school, and she teaches English, and they have a creative writing, and you would not believe how many students just rip off video games as their creative writing. I've helped her grade a few of her papers, and I'm like, this is a plot of X game or Y game. So that is a major hit, and it's seeming to be a pretty widespread problem there.
Another con that I've noticed, even within myself, kind of picking at myself here, is procrastination. Now that I'm an adult and I don't have my parents telling me, you can't play video games till you're done with your homework. As a college student, I'll be working on my homework, and then if there's a game that I just bought or whatever that I really want to play, I might be like, I could work on my homework a little later. Let me play my video game. And so I get into it thinking I'm going to play 20 minutes or so. Yeah. And next thing I realize, I check the clock and I've been playing for at least a couple hours. So that's kind of a problem. Right.
Yeah. And then you have the obesity thing. People are spending way more time indoors, partially due to video games, not entirely due to video games, but it's becoming a problem about, playing video games does not always mean, not everybody's going to play the Xbox Connect or Wii and get any kind of exercise at all with
now that those have kind of gotten older, they're not as fun as exciting, so people aren't quite into that craze anymore.
Yeah.
So it's more about the sit-down games.
Yeah. I mean, much easier than actually having to do anything.
With the little gesture Ian just did, it made me think of carpal tunnel. I can only play video games for a few hours before my hands start to get sore. A lot of my friends make fun of me and complain because it takes me so long to finish a game, and it's like, my hands hurt, and they're like, you're so lame. But carpal tunnel's a serious problem. Also with handheld devices, there's I believe you told me about it. It's tennis elbow or something like that.
Yeah, you can get tennis elbow by holding handheld devices, which is a strange thing to me. I wasn't aware of until somebody I knew got it. It was a shocker.
And also, I had a friend who, well, I don't necessarily know the exact information with it, but he said that he already had arthritis in one hand, and the doctor told him that from playing his handheld video games and holding his controllers all the time and not letting his hands relax, it was actually causing a bit more of an issue with the arthritis. So they had to up his medicine and stuff.
Yeah. That's also not to mention, that video games are growing more and more expensive as times go by. We started out paying, $30 for them at most, and now they're up to $60 and about to become $80. Yeah. They're starting to be real financial burden on people who are just in love with them.
And in general, a major con in video games is the addiction. I have a problem. Video games are very easily addicting. That sounded
very
weird.
Addictive.
Sure.
That's the word.
You start to not care about the cost or anything like that. The stories can totally immerse you, and you get so into it that you just don't care, like Ian said, about the cost or how long you're playing or whatever the case may be. If you love it and you want to know that story, you want to be that character, you want to play that game, you just don't care. And you spend hours at times playing video games. I have friends in specific who they don't have jobs, they don't go to school, they don't do anything but live in their parents' homes. I love you guys, but live in their parents' homes and just play video games all day.
It brings a quote to mind. I don't play video games, I live them. I had a friend who used to say that all the time. He's still living video games in his parents' basement. It's pretty sad.
It is pretty sad. I mean, especially because you start to disconnect, which is another con. A lot of people say, oh no, there's sharing capabilities on systems. There's, you get to friend people with online games. There's online games. But having a personal face-to-face interaction with someone is different compared to interacting with someone online, especially because nowadays you have a lot of bullying online, and just a lot of people aren't actually who they say they are.
Yeah. Not to say that we're not connecting right now, because, but I think that's it for now.
I definitely think that's it. But if I had to say if video games were great or awful, I'd say they're great. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.
Thank you.
See you next time, maybe.